Alright, what's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at XRP, Ripple. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag? If you have one, are you trading XRP at these levels? Do you think we found support? Are we likely to bounce, rally back up to the $1 multi-dollar swing high that we came from in the not so distant past? Or are we still bearish? We've yet to find support and we have more downside ahead of us, or is XRP plummeting straight to zero? Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action down in the comment section. Now, jumping right into it, to kind of recap price action, we have this ascending trend line coming in from the left of the screen here. Price action has interacted with this ascending kind of trend line since the good old COVID crash in the middle of March of 2020. We have price action interacting with it both as support and resistance, so I do believe this has been a relatively useful kind of guide moving forward in the uptrend, as we still have price action respecting it kind of more recently. A more relevant kind of range, I believe, is after kind of the sort of like middle of November of 2020 all the way to today, where we see this very crazy, what appears to be relatively sideways. We have a very aggressive lows of like 18 cents, and we have some euphoric highs of $1.95. But ultimately, price action has rallied from that sub 20-cent low to that almost $2 high, back down to this very critical 62-cent level. Now, in the past, kind of in November of 2020 there, and then again at the beginning of February of 2021, and then again in February, we have multiple rejections like off of this 62-cent level. So this has been significant resistance so far. I do believe most recently, within the last kind of like week and a bit here, has been our attempt to find support at this level. Price action peaking down below it currently, tad bearish in the short term, suggesting we could perhaps start opening below that 62-cent level, further solidifying it as resistance. And I believe if resistance is found at this range, it could send XRP into a bit of a sort of midterm downtrend as we re-interact with these kind of lower levels. XRP does have a habit of making a move either up or down, consolidating for like tens of days perhaps. We had this consolidation between 62 cents and support around 46 cents for a good kind of like pretty much 30 days, a good month before we broke downward and found ourselves at these crazy lows around the kind of like 20-cent level, sub 20 cents. But around these lows, we consolidated for a good over a month this time, more than 30 days, and we found our way kind of back up, bouncing off of key level around 24 cents. We went all the way back up to this kind of like zone of resistance, I do believe, around kind of like 75 cents as a range that was significant resistance enough to send price action downward. We have this example of price action between the kind of 1st of February and the 4th of April of 2021, consolidating along that ascending trend line, breaking kind of like downward, interacting with it as resistance, but being fundamentally bullish enough to find its way back above that ascending trend line, found it as support, gained enough momentum to break significant resistance at 62 cents, plow through that 75-cent resistance zone, and get us into that multi-dollar kind of euphoric swing highs up there. We were met with a very abrupt change in momentum. Price action was looking very bullish. We were finding support at higher levels, although good old May 19th, price action kind of broke downward, sending us into this crazy phase of consolidation that we still appear to be in. Price action plummeting through potential support around $1.12 to interact with this range above that 75-cent kind of level there. We attempted to find support for a good kind of week and a bit, but price action was bearish enough to find its way plowing through. Yeah, we had a good month of potential consolidation above potential support at 75 cents, although price action was a tad too bearish, and we got multiple rejections off of $1. And so plowing through this potential support around 75 cents was to be expected. We now appear to be in another attempt at support. Price action could very well bounce here fundamentally. We could find some sideways along this level. I do believe 62 cents is going to be very pivotal moving forward and will suggest the perhaps short-term direction of the trend. If we start solidifying 62 cents as resistance, I do believe that could plummet price action toward 46 cents to potentially find support along that level and bounce kind of between this range yet again, as we have several examples of price action tending to consolidate above 46 cents and under 62 cents. But a new perspective comes into play when we consider EngineeringRobo along with the fettuccine, zucchini, bikini, martini lines of geometry and Illuminati. We can see a new perspective come into play here. We see price action as we were suggesting, as we were pointing out, price action is currently reaching below 62 cents, suggesting that we could start, if daily candles start closing below that 62-cent level, opening and closing below that level, that would further solidify it as resistance, sending price action to potentially that 46-cent range, although we have the 0.236 Fibonacci line at 54 cents, which could be a more bullish kind of bounce target. It would be a higher low relative to the 22nd and 23rd of June, so it would be very bullish, I believe, midterm if we were to bounce off of the 0.236, although we could very well be bearish enough to interact with 46 cents, as I do believe 62 cents is going to be a very crucial level moving forward. We have price action below that 200 daily moving average, getting a little mini kind of rejection off of it, which is a tad, bearish in the midterm, which is suggesting price action could find its way downward and more attempts at support. We have EngineeringRobo bearish against USDT. So XRP looking a tad bearish in the short term, in my opinion. I do believe perhaps some more downside could present itself if we don't kind of fundamentally bounce here. I do believe a bottom is approaching, and price action wants to be bullish. We want to get back to these highs, although I do believe perhaps some more consolidation is necessary, and some more lows might present themselves kind of moving forward. Some more chances to buy in before we get back to these swing highs. Now, when we consider XRP against Bitcoin, we can see new perspective come into play here. Price action looking to be trading between this significant range between 2266 Satoshi and 1533 Satoshi. Potential support down there, 1533. Price action could very well be bearish enough to make its way toward it to find support along that range. We could very well trade sideways between these two zones for a period of weeks, similar to this upper phase of accumulation that we had kind of for like over 2 months between the kind of like 13th of April all the way to the 13th of June of this year. And so price action could very well take its time to consolidate. I do believe the more consolidation and accumulation we have, the more healthy the uptrend will be in the long term. In my opinion, I'm quite fundamentally still think XRP is quite bullish, although technically, like we've been suggesting and we've been seeing, there is some very high technical sell pressure causing price action to break downwards and have some downside and have these lows present themselves. But these dips are bought up very quickly, and the fundamentals, I do believe, are still in our favor. But when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the fettuccine zucchini lines of bikinis, we can see new perspective coming into play here. Price action looking a tad more bullish. We have EngineeringRobo bearish against the price of Bitcoin here, although price action is above this 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin, giving us some more kind of bullish hope in the potential midterm here. Price action on the USDT chart finding its way towards 46 cents perhaps could correlate with price action finding its way toward this 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin. Bouncing on this level would be very bullish for us, and we could suspect a bottom to be approaching sooner than later, and some more upside to continue moving forward. Although if we were to find ourselves below this 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin, that'll be a tad more bearish in the perhaps midterm, and could suggest some a more prolonged phase of sideways or downside kind of moving forward. Like I said, fundamentally I still think we're quite bullish, although technically there is some very high sell pressure, and there's plenty of resistance ahead of us once we do find support. I do believe we'll have to kind of plow through a lot of these levels and reconfirm them as support before we can kind of continue the uptrend. We have the 0.618 Fibonacci line at 2018 Satoshi, suggesting significant resistance kind of right ahead of us here. That could potentially slap price action toward that 200 daily moving average, or support around 1527 Satoshi. Failure to hold either of those kind of levels will bring us to that 0.786 Fibonacci line at 1406 Satoshi. So we do have some thick potential support that we could fall into if we get slapped from this 0.618 level. Resistance above that at my 2275 level, and then the 0.5 Fibonacci line at 2447. So like I said, significant resistance ahead of us once we do find support, although we have some very strong support just below us that price action could fall into. Lots going on for XRP against Bitcoin, but when we consider now Bitcoin against USDT, we can see a new perspective come into play here. Price action interacting with that very crucial 0.5 fettuccine line. We got slapped. We got hella rejected from this very significant level. The 0.5 Fibonacci line at $34,318.07 per Bitcoin is very, very crucial moving forward. We have several days of price action interacting above and below it, trying to see if it is support or resistance. We perhaps could have just found resistance at that level, slapping price action toward potential support around 32K. We're in a very critical spot at the moment. I do believe there are many bullish still at these levels, and a bottom could be approaching, although there is some very significant technical reasons why we could very much see some more downside or a very prolonged phase of tight sideways like we have been seeing for the past kind of few months here. That 0.5 Fibonacci line is going to be right above us, giving us some very significant overhead resistance before we can kind of plow through and make our way to these highs around the $42,000 level. We have price action coming close to the 0.618 line on the 15th of June, but exhausting and kind of coming back down to 32K as support, even reaching toward that 0.382 Fibonacci line at 27,100. That is a tad short-term bearish and could perhaps suggest that we have more interaction below 32K. That would not be impossible, and I can still be long-term bullish even if we find ourselves at these levels. We have that sell for on the price of Bitcoin here, so suggesting that we are still a tad bearish. Price action below this 200 daily is going to be a very significant bearish indicator, although I do believe the fundamentals and the very high demand for Bitcoin at these levels, I do believe is what's keeping us bullish against this very high technical sell pressure. So there's lots going on at the moment. Will we find support around 32K? Will we plow through, get into the 20Ks? Will we head to the teens? Will we bottom out where we are? And as all-time highs, 100Ks right around the corner. There's lots going on for Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin's in a very pivotal state. Lots of volatile moves ahead of us. Be very careful when jumping into crypto right now. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Let me know what you're doing with your bag. If you have one, are you bullish? Are you bearish? Are you accumulating in these lows? Or, did you sell your whole bag in this FUD-filled moments in crypto here? What are your thoughts on the direction of price action moving forward? Do you think we have a more downside, more, 20s to teens ahead of us? Or is, all-time highs, 6 figures right around the corner? Let me know your thoughts on price action down in the comments. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.